Now, our first guest in the loft with us today is Mthwakazi, the founder and lead vocalist of a music group from the exact same name from the Eastern Cape. It's also called Mthwakazi. They combine their deep connection to traditional Xhosa bow instruments with a more Western operatic sound, which they refer to as hilariously Ngopera.
Mthwakazi, and welcome to the loft. Bongiwe, welcome.
Thank you.
So good to have you here.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
So at the age of 13, you found yourself studying music at the Trinity Music College in London. How did that come about?
My first memory of my infant stages is always been about music. And I remember I used to ask my mom that, how did I come out? Like, what did I do? I'm so excited to know. She's like, you had the biggest voice. All the nurses were so struck they had to come to the ward and see this young baby girl with a big voice. So, and then that led to me like growing around my parents singing, dancing next to me, and then having fun. And then later on, I had to go and audition for a company back in East London, and I was 13 at that time. And they took me, like, first time I was singing that song, they said, okay, shut up, we just want you, we want you here.
What song were you singing, do you remember?
Well, I can't remember the title of the song, but it's from La Traviata, it's an opera. So basically I taught myself at home how to sing opera because I was imitating what I was like actually hearing from radio. So if I would hear a high sound, then I'd try and imitate that. But also with the background of like singing a lot in school, in a school choir. So, the stage where I got to get training, and then I didn't actually go to London when I was 13, but we were examined in London. So it was called the Trinity College. So I did a grade 8 in voice there, and I passed.
Wow.
Amazing.
And how did you deal with the cultural differences, finding yourself in a foreign land at such a young
and London's
age?
an intimidating city.
It is,
like being a child, I get intimidated still.
It is. I find it very, very beautiful, and also the balance, you know. I always like try and take anything that is positive for me in what I learn, like learning opera and coming across indigenous bow music. To me, it was not of letting go of the other or what. I wanted to bring that bridge and that balance. Yeah. And also that unity, because music is basically a universal language. You can communicate with someone with or without even understanding the language. It's a feeling that you get inside you. Yeah,
absolutely.
We were actually just discussing that while we were listening to you sound checking, just saying you don't need to understand what you're saying. It's still so beautiful. And you still get the essence of what you were singing. So, I mean, having studied Western music, I suppose, in London, you then came back to then specialise in African studies, African languages and African music. Did you kind of want to study both so that you could take African music to the rest of the world, I suppose? Or why was your decision to do that?
I think it was to actually preserve the culture of indigenous music, but also bring it out to the people and make it look cool, you know, like it must be cool when you see someone carrying a bow in the streets, you know, the kids must be like, oh, I want to be like that. And also what inspired me was the balance. It could help us like to be able to teach the music and share the music, because there's a very few like bow players there's a lot of bow players in the country, but there's a few people that actually love indigenous music and like treat it with value, you know, they give it value. So I like the balance between having to study both, because to study, it means that you can have like a sort of a method system that you can use to make someone else understand, because African music is very complex when it comes to rhythm. It's got odd rhythms. It doesn't have the natural rhythms. But when you get to study Western music now, you can learn the method of being able to apply the counting of the music and everything else. So that's actually inspired me to even teach back in the Eastern Cape as well.
Wow,
so I've taught like 2 organizations together with my partner. And it's been fun. It's been exhausting, and it's been so much fun.
I'm sure. I mean, when one listens to music, one can't help get the sense that it's deeply spiritual. What's the spiritual influence behind it?
I would say it's my parents, first of all. I grew up in a home that my parents, they really respect prayer. We never even we hardly slept without praying, you know, just to thank the Almighty for giving us the day, like basic things, you know, thanking the Almighty for all the million things that we have other people don't have, like water, you know, the sun, you know, appreciating nature. And also that spiritual influence, I think it was more groomed by my parents in me. And also, I always felt the connection with my ancestors, feeling the connection with my dreams. That's how I got to know that I am spiritually connected, because I'm a kind of person that when I dream about something, it's either it happens immediately, maybe it will happen a week after. And also with the terrible dreams that you get, you are also in control to pray and reverse them. Like if you dream of something terrible and then you wake up and then you ask your ancestors to give you guidance. If it's something that is bad coming to you, you take it back, you pray. So that spiritual connection of not focusing in fear, but more focusing in your will. I don't know how to explain it, because
it's a very incredible way of
it's something that I feel more than something that I can say I understand. You know? It's a connection between me and the universe.
That's very
basically.
What's amazing is that you've actually been able to capture that in your music without words.
Yes, and it's been great because having to work with Leo, who's the composer of the music, he also comes from a background that his grandfather was a priest. And I think that influence of him being in front of the audience and composing music that can make an understanding to someone that is listening. And also my duty is to interpret and appreciate all the people that I meet in my life. So I would imitate how you sit and how you talk, how you hold your cup. So I'm very observant when it comes to watching how people sit and how people dress like.
That's amazing. Well, one of the things I want to imitate is how you do your head wrap.
Yes.
It looks so beautiful.
And I want to learn to play the bow, so we're going to do that a little bit later. Will you teach me?
Yeah, of course, no problem. I love doing that.
Amazing. We're going to have a look quickly and see what's going on